Hello, it is me, Sasquatch Senpai. I am back after a spurt of not feeling too well. So let's get everything out of the way here Friday. Um, I did cut everything back a little bit. I did peruse through what I had initially for what I thought was best, mostly because THQ Nordic had a showcase today with 10 different games. So let's go ahead and jump into that. A few of the games were known already, and had some more reveal than them as well. The Alone in the Dark reboot, Outcast 2, just now dubbed Outcast A Return Home, and Trine 5, a new trailer present for them. These titles being the known quantities going in. Way of the Hunter is receiving new content in the form of an African safari expansion dubbed the Tikamoon Plains. So if you're into that title, well, good news for you. Some new titles were revealed as well. The Last Train Home, a survival and a real-time strategy mashup. It seems to be something about escaping from Russia, into Russia, across to Siberia in an armored train, where you have to stop at destroyed or abandoned towns along the way, get supplies for your train and your troops, and you'll have some real-time strategy combats. Think of like Brothers in Arms, stuff like that. We have Recreation. It is a racer that seems to be a spiritual successor to Trackmania. Much more realistic looking cars, though. You make big, windy, loopy, ridiculous looking theme park style tracks. Tempest Reign, which had me completely fooled as a new Command and Conquer title, so a real-time military-esque strategy game. We also had Space for Sale, which looked like an isometric survival game where you seem to be shrunken down little alien, or that's just how big you actually are. Running through a backyard where clearly you were very small, fighting bugs, pulling things out of the ground, tentacles. It was really... For the biggest reveal, however, is we'll start off with South Park Snow Day, as the new kid, that's you, is back for another adventure with the cast of South Park in South Park in the dead of winter, as the kids are celebrating a snow day, getting out of school. And how did they do that? Well, pure carnage, it looks like. It looks to be a South Park take on the ARPG genre, so think Diablo or Path of Exile or Titan Quest, but in South Park, and it does come with co-op as well. Speaking of Titan Quest and ARPGs, Titan Quest 2 was officially revealed. I'm a sucker for mythology, especially Greek or Roman. I loved the first title and its expansions back in the day, so this was a welcome surprise to me that it showed up. Nothing more for it than a cinematic trailer with a city falling from the wrath of God or a celestial being or the like. Will it remain an ARPG? Probably. Remember a few years ago when we had that playable Gothic remake of that first Zone? Then it just kind of disappeared? Well, it seems like it only disappeared from the public's eye. We had a full-on cinematic trailer for the title to appear. So Gothic 1 is getting an official remake. We had a cinematic trailer of that camp, and so one of the first original hardcore RPGs, verging on Sims, is returning with this Gothic remake, so that's also exciting news for fans of that genre. And that being insanely deep RPGs. Lastly, the biggest news in my opinion from this THQ showcase. A few months ago, we had a teaser from Paramount that something was in the works regarding the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles' best story arc ever published, The Last Ronin. Well, it's a game and it's real. It's nothing but a very short teaser trailer showing candles being snuffed out until only one remains, starting off at 4, down to 1. From there, we get to see the last standing turtle facing off a few foes of Shredders, and the title splashing across the screen. Pure hype, even though I don't show it because I am a blank slate and monotone. Though I probably shouldn't be, but then again, this year has restored some faith in me having hype towards game releases. Now let's get into some other news stories from across the gaming industry. New Zealand has become the 41st country with a regulatory body to approve the Microsoft Activision merger. It seems their complaints were met with that of the EU's regulatory body's complaints when Microsoft went off on a cloud gaming signing spree. So the CMA and Microsoft are still working on pushing the deal through. It looks like it's a mess on the outside, and while anything involving the government is sure to be a mess, the new Sony deal, as well as the plethora of cloud gaming deals, have helped Microsoft and their case. UK Regulatory Board was supposed to reach a verdict today by the end of their office hours, which have passed and no word yet. So depending, we might see UK without Activision titles for a while, or they might have given word to Microsoft and decide that it's okay to go through. They're just preparing some statements. I have no idea how it's work, but they're definitely slow on the turnaround here, missing that target date they had set. Back stateside, the FTC, despite pulling its complaint against the merger after losing the initial preliminary injunction trial, then also losing both the appeal direct to Judge Corley, who ruled over the case, as well as the appeal to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals itself, have decided the next best course of action was to file yet another appeal. My beautiful, wonderful tax dollars at work. I fucking hate my government. Square Enix's new president, Takashi Kiryu, stated in a post-earnings call to various analysts that Final Fantasy XVI did not meet the company's high expectations for the title. The company's earnings were released and were down an absolute whopping 79%. That is a fall from 14.4 billion yen to just 3 billion yen. He stated that an overall slow adoption rate of the PS5 was partially to blame, as the title was limited to launching on just the one platform, skipping both the Xbox Series XS as a platform and PC. Obviously, a title like this would not be coming to Switch, or the last-gen hardware would not be capable of running it either. While they consider those initial sales of the title to be very high, they will also begin various initiatives to help bolster those sales. I, for one, suggest utilizing other platforms. This could have been one of the major tipping points which pushed the new SE president into the FanFest spotlight on the stage with Yoshi P and Phil Spencer when they announced that titles would start appearing on the Xbox platforms, starting with Final Fantasy XIV next spring. Iron Studios, despite their current ongoing lawsuit with Nexon Studios, which seems to honestly be appearing more and more bleak each day for the studio, have announced that Dark and Darker will be entering early access, so rejoice fans of the title. The title can be purchased directly from Iron Mace through their own launcher, which they have dubbed Blacksmith, available on their website, or through a third-party publisher known as Chaff Games. I say bleak outlook on the case, as the deposition for the head of the Iron Mace Studios is available in PDF format file for anyone with a Pacer account in the States, or the DMCA case that Nexon sent to Valve over the title in the Western Washington court systems. It is there because that's where Valve is headquartered. And they had the DMC notice to remove the title from their platform, which they obliged by. It went through all the proper channels. It seems like the entire defense is, well, you didn't watch me close enough, and since I committed these illegal activities and fraudulent acts under your nose and you didn't catch me, it's your fault. I'm not even kidding. This is the defense. He admitted to everything except straight up copying the source code to their own engine. That's the only thing he did not admit to. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. It is not a good defense. So, yeah. But fans of the embattled game from the moronic studio have no fear, though. I did take a look through the terms of service for the game because I was intrigued at how they were going to handle this. If the title is taken away from public access for more than 30 days, they will send you a notice that it's being removed for more than 30 days. And that is in their TOS, that they will send you a notice. You then have 30 days from the receipt of that notice to request a refund if your account is in good standing. So, no slurs, no gamer words. Now, if you'll get that actual refund, who knows? But allegedly, when those servers go offline and the game dies, as it seems to be the incoming situation, you are entitled to a refund. And who actually knows how that will go? I'm not sure how this stuff works in Korea. They could just have to pay a super hefty fee to Nexon to keep it running and give them, you know, pretty much all the profits for the game. But yeah, so if you do want to participate in Dark and Darker, the game was fun despite its moronic leads. You are kind of covered if that server does go down and you lose access to that game. Remember a few weeks ago when Red Dead Redemption, the original title, had a new rating pop up in South Korea? Well, Take-Two Interactive have blessed us with a port. a port to the PS4, and over to the Nintendo Switch. A port that cost $50. This port doesn't even come to the PC platform, which is lacking the game entirely. It is to just the PS4, because the PS4 does not have backwards compatibility to the PS3, and the PS4 has forwards compatibility to the PS5. There is no Xbox version, because the Xbox Series consoles and the One do have fantastic backwards compatibility built into them, so that's just already available for you. Just the PS4 and Switch. It does come with Undead Nightmare, which is an absolute killer of a DLC, but this overall is just ludicrous. Leadership at Take-Two has stated in response to immense public backlash that $50 is a great price point that, they measured up to other titles of this type. Their own titles that didn't work at launch. Completely missing the point. No one is happy about this except the CEO and president, who are receiving nice fat $72 million bonuses this year, and nothing but immensely aggressive microtransactions in GTA Online and abandoning Red Dead Online. Well, except for, of course, pushing those aggressive and ludicrous microtransactions. Will this public outcry change anything? Absolutely not. People are still going to flock and purchase their shark cards on GTA Online, and they're going to purchase GTA 6 when it launches, which is supposedly happening next year in 2020. Larian Studios, hereby dubbed the studio that can do no wrong, the developers behind the acclaimed Baldur's Gate 3, keeps on winning. A post came across X, formerly known as Twitter, highlighting the fact that the translation company responsible for translating over the 1 million words in the script into 13 supported languages only credited the company's leadership, CEOs, presidents, COOs, team leads. That's right. Altagram Group, who Larian contracted for the localization of this immense title, credited only 13 individuals across the entire company for the 3 years of work. Larian Studios, however, took immediate notice of this and went to action to correct this. Larian initially received the brunt of the force, but they only published what was given to them by Altagram Group. Larian cleared up that this was entirely on Altagram and have reached out for the full list of translators to update the game with their names in the credits in an upcoming patch. Altagram Group has also publicly stated that they have learned from this experience and will make changes going forward in how they credit their staff and freelancers for the translations that they are hired for. And I figured we'd follow it up with one of the best developers with one of the worst. Used to be a great one, Bungie. Bungie has let it be known that they hate their player base in their latest State of the Game post. Their yearly mocking of the players from their luxury suites up above the crowds below. They have stated that they don't currently have the bandwidth to create relic armor sets for each activity coming with each season or expansion. As a response to fan backlash, when this was announced about a month ago, within the last month, within a This Week at Bungie post, about the time they said they were going to stop communicating and interacting with the community. Great follow-up to that. Hoping everyone would ignore the multiple new armor sets and weapon skins that keep popping up every week in the Everse that you can purchase with your real money. Not satisfied with this slight alone, they then doubled and then tripled down on throwing their rotten leftovers to those who are supporting their games and their livelihoods. They stated rather brazenly, the lack of bandwidth that they have available is why PvP and Gambit don't really get any updates. Or any at all. Stuff fans would like. And by that I mean no updates. They get nothing. We're getting a PvP map, I believe. That's just based on the Vex. And then a new Gambit map. The first time in years. 3 years, I believe. But it's not really new. It's just a port of a Gambit map. So don't worry about that. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's really bad. It's awful. You will be satisfied with Bungie's leftover excrement that will sustain you. They stated that exotic missions and strikes and battlegrounds were the most popular activities, and that's why they focus on those. Which I say, well, yeah, of course, because you don't support the other activities. Yet, still just recycle the same open world locations and old strikes and every other thing. You just have us run them backwards or run across them sideways. And you know what? I honestly think I hate Bungie as much as I hate my government, and that's a lot. I wish I could get the thousands of hours I've spent from D1 through D2 due back, and the hundreds of dollars I've spent as well from Bungie. I initially thought it's just a cash shop. That's not that bad. It's just a cash shop. Then it turned into $25 dungeons, or you have to spend the $12 on the season every 3 months that is a free update in other games. I'm just exhausted with Bungie. This is who Sony hired to lead all of their future live service games. This. A studio that legitimately just hates the people who support them. You are to consume from them. That's it. You are not to care what they give you. You are just to consume. If you want to leave, make sure you leave your wallet. Well, that's it for the week. I picked through everything I had. Didn't want it too long. It's definitely spicier than normal. So enjoy that. If you made it this far, I'm assuming you at least partially enjoyed this. If you wouldn't mind, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next week, or sooner. I don't know. I post random stuff sometimes. Thank you, and have a good weekend.